The Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com. 11 locations across New England.
What's up, everybody? Post-game pod coming to you live from the Garden.
All right.
And a very special guest, Drew Carter.
What's up, y'all?
We kidnapped him, made him stay extra late to do Celtics post-up. We should get you on Post-game Live, Post-game Plus.
Forsberg, I just want to be out of this building before the parquet is completely disassembled.
Yeah, I don't think that's happening. What are they doing, by the way? There's a game here tomorrow.
I don't know. Do the Bruins play at like noon tomorrow?
Oh,
yeah.
it's a changeover day.
That is brutal, dude. A Celtics back-to-back and with a Bruins game sandwiched in between.
Shout out to the Bull Gang.
Bull Gang making their money.
Yeah,
man.
they are probably. There's probably some like Friday into Saturday, that weekend overtime hours. I don't know.
Forsberg, I'm over here bitching about having to do post-game live and the post-game pod, and these guys are going to be here all night. So
and then all day tomorrow. So shout out
Yes.
to the Bull Gang. Also, shout out. Talk about they didn't have to work overtime like these guys, but the Boston Celtics had to grind a little bit, had to work a little harder than usual because the Bucks were pretty pesky in this one. Surprise, biggest takeaway from tonight.
Well, I would say, number one, I thought it was a terrific game. There was a moment in the fourth quarter, maybe the third quarter, where Scal was like, we have the best job, which is true. I mean, aside from when you're at the brewery doing the Derek White ale thing, we do have the best job because we get to sit courtside for amazing NBA games. And tonight, I thought was a really good NBA game. Ever since Jaylen Brown almost got clocked by that cheap shot Giannis elbow, and then he got teed up, which was complete BS because Giannis should have been teed up, but the refs missed the elbow. It happened fast, I understand. But ever since then, the intensity just cranked up to another level, and you had two stars on each side who were doing their thing, and then you have, of course, the role players like Al Horford and Drew Holiday, who are both champions and Hall of Famers. The fact that the Celtics have role players who are Hall of Famers tells you a lot about this team.
Fair.
They both hit big-time shots. Sam Hauser was great. Derek White didn't make a three-pointer all night, and the Celtics still won.
Still had his fingerprints on the win with
Absolutely.
like rebounding and defense.
It was just a good game.
It's so hard. We always joke about this with the Celtics, right? When Jayson and Jaylen score 30 apiece, Celtics are virtually undefeated. I think they've lost one of those games, maybe two now.
Which games?
Yeah, see, like you're only doing that because I threw it on you on post up, and I don't have Dick Life here. Dick, if you're somehow watching this podcast live, if you could just send me that information. But it's so hard to beat a team when two of your superstars go for 60 points.
Yeah.
And that's what the Bucks did. And now look, that's usually their roadmap to being successful. And yet, because the Celtics had Sam Hauser picking up the bench slack, because Drew Holiday had probably maybe his best game of the year in terms of picking up what Derek White couldn't make a shot. And so everybody gave a little bit, and Jayson and Jaylen were fantastic. And it gets you to a gritty win. I was asking Eddie after, I said, how do players react to a game like this where it's not always pretty, but you knew you had to kind of grind, and the Celtics have done this a few times this year, right? Like, it hasn't always been pretty, but they find a way to win.
Dude, they've had to do it a bunch of times.
It's like almost an absurd amount.
Because every team comes in here, or when the Celtics are in their building, and they absolutely bring it. I mean, before I was around the NBA every day, I was one of those fans who's like, oh, everybody tries hard all the time. Don't tell me about like team wanted it more, or you're gonna get a team's best shot, hunted versus hunter. I thought a lot of that stuff was BS. Seeing it every day this season, I think it's real, man. Like Scout talked about it. The Raptors come in here on the second night of a back-to-back and take the Celtics to overtime. It's not like the Celtics didn't play great, but it's not like they came out and laid an egg. All these teams come in here and are so fired up to play Boston. I think the Bucks had something extra because they were about to get swept in the season series.
Fair.
Doc Rivers, of course, Damian Lillard, Drew Holiday, that whole thing. And the Celtics just take every punch and withstand it.
Well, I think a part of it, too, was that you had guys like Scal saying, oh, they won 9 of 11, but they're still fake. It's an easy schedule. And I think they feel like they still have to prove themselves a little bit, which is weird to say about a recent champion. But
Doc did say that pregame, too. He said, you are what your record says you are, quoting the great Bill Parcells. And he said, our record's not good enough. And it's not, but, you're right about how Scal was, like, kind of dismissing them before the game. I do think they're playing better. They're still old. They still don't move around enough. But when Giannis and Dame are playing like they did tonight, they're going to beat almost anybody.
I will say going into the night, I said, we're trying to do the matchups, right? Like, okay, they're going to be probably a 5 to 8 seed. They might have to go through the play-in depending on how this all shakes out. The East is weird right now anyway. But okay, top 4 seeds, Celtics, Cavs.
Oh, we're doing this already?
Oh, yeah,
it's
Knicks.
early December.
But I'm just saying, let's just, because I think there's enough of a buffer here, like Orlando. Which of those 4 teams are they beating?
Well, that's what Scal was saying. I don't think any of them, but I wouldn't write them off. It's the same thing I said before the year.
It's 1 quarter of the way through. A lot of teams have limped through a quarter of a season and then turned it up.
And here's the deal. Are they really old? Yes. Do they not cut enough? Probably. Do they have bad perimeter defense? Yes. But they have 2 of the top 75 players of all time who are either in their prime. Giannis is playing the best basketball of his career, or maybe a little bit past, but like, dude, Damian Lillard, 25 plus in 6 consecutive games. He was amazing again tonight. They have one of the best duos in the league, and when you have that, maybe you got a chance. But the bottom line is the Celtics are still much better.
I was going to say, but the bottom line is I can't believe we spent that much time on the Bucks. Credit to them for at least bringing themselves back into the conversation. But the story here is the Celtics have 8 to 9 guys who are not 100 years old, although I guess they do have a couple older players. But our old guys, Al Horford's out there hitting dagger threes. Drew Holiday's making crazy plays. So the Celtics are just in such a good spot. And you look over at the bench, and there's Kristaps Porzingis.
That's
and you're
incredible,
like,
right?
You know, it's an embarrassment of riches. I do think it's interesting. I want your perspective on that. You can feel a difference with the opponents this year in terms of like how like a random, and maybe this isn't a great example because tonight had a little bit more beef to it, but like a random Saturday night visit from the Grizzlies tomorrow. You think not only with Marcus Smart, but like there's just a little extra heft because of who they're playing, the world champions.
I 100% believe in that. And again, I didn't believe in that before the season, but sitting courtside for all these games, I think it's undeniable. Like, not to go back to the Toronto game, but that's my favorite example because the Raptors are not good this year. But they came in here and they went 12 rounds with the Celtics, and RJ Barrett was talking so much smack to the fans behind us. I'm like, what did we do to RJ Barrett? But it's just, I think it's the fact of playing the reigning champs. This place is always sold out. It's obviously iconic. Anytime a team comes in here, you are going to get their best shot. And when I say their best shot, I'm not trying to use cliches or anything. These are NBA players.
Right.
And when they want to get up for a game, it's going to be a good game. We saw it again tonight.
It's crazy. Jayson Tatum, does anything surprise you anymore? Like, it felt like, especially the start of the fourth quarter, he was just like, no, we're not losing this game.
Yeah, stuff does surprise me because what he did tonight is not typical for Jayson Tatum. Starting the fourth quarter, I think he played the whole 12 minutes, I believe.
I believe so.
Because, you know, the rotation, Joe Mazzulla has shown an ability to adapt. When Jaylen Brown comes out smoking hot like he did tonight, like he did against Minnesota a couple weeks ago, he'll leave him in for the entire first quarter and take JT out, and then Tatum will start the second quarter. Same thing happened tonight where he takes him out in the third quarter, which is atypical, and he puts him back in there to start the fourth quarter, and he just took this game over, dude. Like, he was maestroing this game to an extent that I don't think Jayson Tatum has done before in his career. His assist total has risen every season in the NBA.
Crazy.
We haven't seen him at his best yet. We haven't seen him at his apex mountain yet. Shout out to Bill Simmons. He continues. It honestly, Chris, seems like he gets better every month, and he's the best he's ever been right now.
And that's the way I feel about Jaylen Brown. Like, not a high assist game tonight, but 9 the other night. The potential assists are up. The points created is up. These guys, they could easily just be like, all right, we're all NBA. We're cool. We're coasting. Yeah. They could be like, we're champions. We're going to downshift and just do what we do and crank it up in the playoffs. They keep bringing it. And it's so refreshing that you have 2 superstars to their level that want to play, that get up for big games like this, that find a way to get you to the finish line. So you are right. In the moment, I'm always, sometimes I'm like, oh, I can't believe they're not blowing this team out. They're too good to be letting this team hang around. And then I think about it and like, yeah, it's just they're getting their other team's best shot, but they're still finding ways to win.
I just think that if you're going to blame the Celtics for playing close games, which again, by the way, we're playing sports. The object is to win, not blow everybody out.
Fair.
So, and the Celtics are what now? 18-4, 19-4?
19-4?
I think 19-4. Yeah. So they're 19-4.
There's been a lot of games this week. We're both going cross-eyed. So.
And there have been a lot of close games. If you're going to complain about that, I think that's honestly disrespecting the team they're playing. Because it's not like the Celtics. There have been a couple times this year where they've started slow, like against Milwaukee last time. It was 16-2, and the next game against the Nets, it was 16-2. The other team was on top. They always respond. They have the heart of a champion, even in December.
All right, it's a back-to-back, so we're not going to make this an hour-long podcast, even though I'd love to keep you. And now, whenever I see you like lingering after a game, you're stuck up here with us.
Oh, no.
But here's more from our post-game show, and we'll be back to talk about that Grizzlies game.
Jaylen, this did not feel like one of 82. It was intense. The crowd went wild. You guys got some huge shots from the vets and Al Horford and Drew Holiday. What did this one mean?
This is a good win. I think Milwaukee played as well. We didn't shoot the ball as best as we have in the past, but we found a way to win, so that was great.
You continued the back and forth with Giannis, especially in that third quarter. I know how much Joe loves chaos. What did that spark in you and your teammates?
I'm not sure. I was just playing basketball. Like, I feel like we let a little bit of those elbows go. I'm gonna have a problem with it, but it's all good. We got the game, so look forward to the next one.
How are you able to channel that energy into winning plays?
Starts on defense and just maintaining focus. I think that's what we did, and we found a way to win.
You get the season sweep against this Bucks team. How big is that?
Big, especially without Porzingis. We wanted to come out and get a win going into this back-to-back, and we did that.
Celtics Talk is presented by 24 Auto Group, where now through the end of the year, they are doubling your down payment at all 11 locations throughout southern New England. Go to 24autogroup.com for more info.
Jayson, just what is it about this team that, when you go through periods of not hitting shots like you did in the second quarter, being able to stick with it? You guys never let the lead get too far out of control, and Joe said the defense never broke. What allowed you guys to kind of stay in it?
I think guys have a sense of awareness. Having been through it before, this group has, we've played in a lot of basketball games. We found a bunch of different ways to win, and we're a special team. We won a championship last year, and we understand the process of each night is going to look different, and we still need to play the right way, our way, regardless of if we're hitting shots tonight. We got to be ourselves.
We like to talk about, this was a playoff atmosphere, and I don't know how much of that you feel out there, but having gone through last year, winning a championship and a ton of playoff games, how does a game like this compare to that? And how, like you said, we've been through it. How does that compare? How does that allow you to kind of get through these games?
No, it wasn't a playoff game, but it was a special night. I've been here, this is my 8th year, and these nights, right, where you're playing a team that's really good with some special players, and the crowd is really involved, and guys are making plays, and you feeding off the energy of your teammates and of the crowd and the fans, and the amount of times that we've won games and moments like that, it's just like another special night at TD Garden. That I've been a part of.
Jayson, you guys get Drew back tonight, and obviously missed the last 2 games. What does just having his presence out there do for you?
It does a lot. I think we compliment Drew about being a Swiss Army knife, right? We put him on point guards, we put him on the big man. We have him set screens, we have him handle the ball, facilitate, we have him post guards up. We just have Drew do a little bit of everything, and he's a big part of why we are who we are and why we're a special team.
You kept getting that Brook switch and driving past him for those kickouts in crunch time. I feel like in the past you might have used that as an opportunity to maybe get more to your step back or to swing it around the arc. What are you doing differently this year to be able to get past those guys when they're really trying to lock you up, and how does that open up the offense in crunch time? Just learning from previous seasons, learning from previous games, understanding what they'll live with, and there are moments where I'm going to take a step back 3 or in rhythm, but knowing that you get past your defender, more likely going to help, and just about making the right read and finding the open man, because we have so many guys that are threats, can space the floor, and when you attack a closeout as a defender, that's the hardest thing to do is guard somebody off a closeout. So we have so many guys that can put the ball on the floor. We just try to put the defense in those situations where they're closing out on really good players, and that's tough.
All right, you're right back to work on Drew Carter on the second night of a back-to-back. Do you have to do you get extra tea in the morning? Do you what's the process?
Actually, yes, Forsy. I've been battling an illness for the last week, so you're welcome for that. Thanks for asking me to do this show, man. But the court is at half court, by the way.
Also, I'm sure that sitting this close to you will have no ill effects on me.
No, it's fine. It's all good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So that's what you get for asking me to do that. No,
I see.
No,
now
honestly,
I get it.
Honestly, it is a treat to do these with you.
Thank you.
I feel okay. A lot of tea. I picked up some Theraflu from the grocery store yesterday. A lot of hot liquid going down my throat.
It's perfect to get you through these winter months. My whole house has been sick, so I can't even complain.
Okay.
Marcus Smart is coming back with
sir.
the Memphis Grizzlies. Well, hopefully, he left the other.
No,
game.
don't say that. Don't just watch the game.
Yeah, just watch the game.
He's playing.
He's probably out there, probably a tribute video. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
I know you said when we were doing Celtics Post Up right before this in hour 5 of our post game coverage that you weren't here for it, but even watching from afar, could you? And now that you're immersed in it, could you get the sense of how important he was to this city?
Absolutely. Talking, first of all, to some of my best friends who cover the team, like you and Abby and our producer Paul, about how he treated the media. Number one, it sounds like he was the most fun player to cover, and he was always gracious and generous with his time. I know about the stuff he did in the community, too, with the baskets, right?
Yep.
And he seems like he gave back a lot, and he was the epitome of hard-nosed competitor on the court who you don't want to play against. You don't want to see him on the opposite side, but you definitely want to see him after the game because he's an amazing guy with a big heart.
And I think he nailed it, right? The way he endeared himself was, he would have bad shooting nights. Yeah, he had bad shot selection at times. But he was also the one dude who was going to be on the floor. Maybe his first season here, he's on the ground wrestling the ball from KG and got the pat on the backside. And it was almost like a whoa. KG respects him for the way he plays. A couple years later, he's taking charges from Harden and totally swinging the end of the game. You always felt like you were in the game as long as Marcus Smart was out there, the whole birth of winning plays. But the more important part was that he was just a good dude in general. The stuff he did for hospitals, Nerf gun battles with cancer patients that no one saw, that no one asked him to do, he would just go. His family had been touched by cancer, and it mattered to him to be around kids that were going through it. He had just ultimate empathy for them and wanted to brighten their day, and I had the utmost respect. And I told you this, I'm just so excited that he gets a moment.
Yeah.
And it'll be quick, and he probably will be he'll be in a huddle and he won't even look up like he did last year when he was in street clothes. Yeah. But just to hear that ovation, for people to remind him how much he's appreciated, it matters.
It's actually, obviously it sucks that he was injured last year, but it's kind of good because he didn't have to worry about the huddle and whatever Taylor Jenkins was saying during the huddle when he got that tribute video last year. It'll be fun to see him playing on the parquet again. By the way, if you're watching this, you can see what just happened. If you're listening to it, let me tell you, they just turned the lights back on at the Garden. The game ended 2 hours ago.
I thought you did The Undertaker, where the lights come up and then down. I don't know what is going on here tonight.
That's how late it is. The lights have gone off and back on again.
And it feels like they're pumping in the cold air now for the hockey game. It is now negative 12 degrees. I saw they brought your jacket in, and I'm ready to steal it.
I know.
So
you know why they're pumping that in, Chris? To get us out of here.
Fair. It's you know what? I'm gonna have to go see if Sam Adams Brewery is still open and check out Celtics Post Up. We had a lot of fun on there, including our visit. Or my visit, no offense, to the Sam Adams Brew House for the Derek White Ale. Go check it out. We'll be back with you tomorrow night. I'll probably be in a studio by myself, much warmer, maybe some warmer lighting in that room. That pod room's fun.
I'll meet up with you there at 2 a.m.
Perfect. It's a deal. I'll bring the White Ale. Go subscribe, check us out on the YouTube page. We'll catch you tomorrow night on the Postgame Pod.